undisputed world champ. You know what? Let's talk about your Lakers. The floor is yours. I know you're sick. You probably had 2-3 burgers the other night after that Lakers loss. Probably went to Daiquiris and Po' Boys. I don't blame you. I heard they got some good food over there. I read the website from Google. You went through a lot of hell. I hope Mama Champ had to do everything to comfort you.
Hold on, I gotta. Before Champ go, I gotta get it out, and I gotta get it out in honor of my boy Shannon Sharp. I gotta get it out because we were feeling hardy, and we threw a party, but the Lakers showed up kind of tardy, and they got sent home in five.
I'm starting to believe more and more Shannon Sharp jinxed the Lakers.
Look, just gonna be real. The better team was the Minnesota Timberwolves. That it's as simple as that. The map, everybody. I think we like to put more so into it than it really is. Minnesota was the better team. They had the better interior defense. They had the. I don't think that Luka wasn't in good a shape as he needed to be. I think that transition from Dallas to LA was still kind of on him at a certain point. Although he was playing good at certain times during the season. But yeah, I mean, hey, look, just gonna be real. Anthony Edwards is that dude. Where's Anthony Edwards from? UGA. So, hey man, down South Georgia boys, we gonna always take that swagger with us and that cockiness and that confidence and that
Bravado.
that bravado and that trash talking every single one. And what I like about Anthony Edwards, it's a control bravado. You know, it's basketball related. You can really much relate to him. It's old school. It's Reggie Miller. It's Larry Bird. It's Magic Johnson. It's Michael Jordan. So I love to see that. So I mean, he was that guy in that series. He was that dude. And I know he says that he doesn't want to be the face of the NBA, but I will say this, and you can relate to this, BRF. Remember when Lil Flip said that Scarface was the king of the South? Remember what he said? Yeah. He said, even if he don't want to be, to me, he is the king of the South. But I think that's just what's going to happen with Anthony Edwards. Although he doesn't want the title of the face of the league, he keeps playing like this, and especially if he wins the championship in a small market like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who is only, may I add, 35 years old. They're one of the youngest teams as far as the existence of their franchise. They're one of the youngest teams in the NBA as far as, like I said, the existence of their franchise. They were brought into existence in the early 90s, right along with the Orlando Magic. But for that to happen, not to mention under new ownership, under Alex Rodriguez, who has become a majority owner, that would be huge. And like I said, there's nothing that the NBA needs right now better than these small market teams to come into fruition and win themselves a championship. And I think that would, especially if he's able to win one this year with these type of performance, I think that is going to catapult him instantly, because the NBA is already looking for its new face. It's fishing like we do on Saturday. It's fishing season down south. Everybody on the lake throwing their fishing rod. They're fishing for it. So only thing that they need is for him or either SGA to win that NBA title this year. And depending on who wins, that's who's going to catapult the NBA. But as far as my Lakers go, look, y'all got a lot of work to do. And look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it before and I say it again. We lucked out because one franchise was not knowledgeable enough to understand what their franchise player meant to their franchise. And ironically, they even said that. Nico even said that. Mr. Nico Harris even said that. If I had known that the backlash from the fans and the media was going to be this scrutinizing and so polarizing, I probably wouldn't have made the trade. Now, I will say
lying.
You were kind of crazy in order not to think that a player of that magnitude was going to cause an uproar. And if you did not think about that, if you didn't think that, in the great words of Doc Holliday, you're no Daisy at all. But I digress. So, look, big ups to the made it to the playoffs. We have a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do on the defensive side of the ball. We got to get that interior defense and the interior scoring right. We're going back to the days of the bigs being important again. These are the days where the bigs are important again. We're way past the small ball era. We had the small ball era. It was a brief period of time. Guess what? That's not how you win basketball games anymore. You got to have a big man. You got to have somebody who you can feed. You got to have a rim protector. You got to have somebody on them boards. And you can't necessarily – the game is going back to be playing it how the old heads would say it, including myself. I'm an old head too, the way it was supposed to be. From the inside out, not the outside in. So for y'all to address that situation, and it's time for y'all to put yourself in the best position possible in order to do so. And look, for God's sake, no more quick fixes. Stop trying to fix it quick. I understand that you have LeBron, you're trying to win, but now you have a young player in the form of Luka. You have a young player, not just a young player, a young cornerstone. This young man is a cornerstone.
26 years old. And you got some young pieces. And to your point, Champ, with the big men, sorry to interrupt you with the centers. You know how you view the NBA centers? The same way you should view it as the NFL offensive linemen.
Yes.
As you always say, quarterback cannot throw behind his back.
Yes.
So that's how you should view the big man, because again, without a big man, without some interior, without some guy who can rebound for you and block shots, where are you going to get that?
Yeah. And the thing was, we've seen small ball before. We saw it. We saw small ball with the Houston Rockets. Remember what they used to call them back in the day? When they had Akeem Olajuwon, they call it small ball with a big problem in the middle, and that was Akeem Olajuwon. You need a big man nowadays in order to protect that rim, especially with the centers that you have now. You have Jokic. You can pretty much start and end it there because he's the best center in the NBA right about now. So you have to have someone in that paint in order to at least, be competitive with him. So, hey, even if you have to have a big man by committee mode, which we've seen teams do. We saw the 2001 76ers do big man by committee. They had Dikembe Mutombo, Theo Ratliff, and Matt Geiger. So, yeah. So even if you have to do it by committee, you have to do something to address that. This is not a complete team in the Lakers. Everybody, look, I will say this. Us Laker fans are sort of like Dallas Cowboy fans. The minute we make a big trade, oh, yeah, championship. But even if we would have got past them, like I said, and I hate to say this with all of my being, but even if we would have got to the finals this year, I still don't think we could have beat the Celtics. Now that's difficult for me to say because I hate the Celtics, but can't believe I said it on that.
Because you felt like the reason why you say that the Lakers couldn't beat the Celtics is because the Celtics outmatched you, because they have a big and Porzingis when healthy, and you saw the type of impact he had last year in the finals before the injury. And then on top of that, you got Horford, and then on top, but Champ, it's not just big men, your bench too.
Yes, I was getting to that as well. You need bench scoring. You need to make this Lakers, Los Angeles. You got to make a complete team. All these big names is not going to do us any good. The thing when we had Shaq and Kobe, when we had Anthony Davis and LeBron in the bubble, when we had Magic and Kareem, we had the role players and the people around them in order to complement them. You just can't put teams together. You have to understand what your team is, and your team has to have an identity. And I don't think this team had an identity this year. I still think they were working their way into chemistry, and there's no excuses because guess what? When you get into the game, you got to play the game how it's played. But there still was a lot of things that they was working into. They're trying to work Luka into the offense with two ball-dominant players and him and LeBron. There was a lot of work that has to be done. And look, I'm just gonna say it. Look, LeBron, you're the greatest player, arguably, of all time. It's time to take a step back, and you have to let this be Luka's team now, because sometimes people will say that Luka was a little bit hesitant at times, and sometimes it's just like he looked a little hesitant at times. It was sometimes when you could see the hesitation. It wasn't the Dallas version of it, and it's just like, But LeBron, you got to take a step back, and you got to let Luka run this offense. I mean, and we're not asking you to come off the bench, but we're asking you to take a step back and realize that the future is this young man. So
I'm glad you clarified it, champ, because when you said take a step back, I thought you were implying that LeBron should retire. But no, I'm glad you clarified that. But here's the thing, champ. How are you going to do that with Luka when he's not known for having the greatest condition in the world? Even though we still dumbfounded that the Dallas Mavericks traded him, the continuous problem with Luka has been his conditioning and the effort on the defensive court of the ball. Champ, I even said it myself. Hey, he making Luka being out of shape and overweight. He making you look skinny.
Yeah, and that's a bad thing when you are a professional athlete. If you're out here on the street, then that's one thing. But I mean, look, stay out. Like I said before, man, stay out of daiquiris and po' boys. I know the Grand Marnier slushy is real good. But I mean, look. If you want to win a championship, you got to be in maximum shape. You got to be in maximum shape. You got to be conditioned. And look, you have the capability to be one of the greatest of all time. One of the greatest to ever just set foot on the floor. Don't ruin that by eroding your reflexes and eroding yourself by not having the greatest condition. You are in LA now. You went from one big market to a bigger market. You're in LA. You need to get with LeBron, see who his trainer is. You need to go ahead and get on that treadmill. Like I did the other day, man. Did 12 miles this week. But you need to get on that treadmill, do some things like that, and go ahead and get your conditioning right. Because guess what? You're going to need it in these playoffs. Because guess what? Everybody's starting to talk about it a little bit more. You're not hearing it as loud you're not hearing it loudly like we're talking about it now. But people are slowly starting to say it. Okay, are they truly justified because it's conditioning? And they didn't want to get him that $300 million, or the jury's still up in the air on conventional wisdom. Granted, the easiest answer is the Mavericks made a mistake, but you can see how his conditioning affected him during the course of the game. He looked tired a little bit, so you gotta get that condition together. And who better to show you than LeBron? And like I said, you're in your prime year, 26 years old, so it shouldn't be no problem for you to do that. Especially for $300 million. I'd have went on a liquid diet. I'm just gonna be real with you. I wouldn't have eaten nothing but Jello for the next 3 years. So just gonna be with $300 million. That's what we gonna do. We eating Jello and chicken broth for the pregame and the postgame meal.
Well, you damn sure are saving daiquiri and po' boys, Waffle House, Denny's, and all them other restaurants a hell of a lot of money by you going on that Jello or liquid cleanse.
Yeah, we're gonna go on a liquid diet or something like that. $300 million. I'm going on a liquid diet, and I'm running 12 miles every day. So yeah, you got to get that conditioning right, Luka, because people are starting to chirp a little bit more now that you are on the Lakers. And look, in the city of angels, either you can fly high or you can burn out on the way to the top. Don't be that burnout on the way to the top, because there's been plenty of them in LA.
All right. Shout out to our guy Aiden. Shout out Aiden. Salute to everyone on the pod, and thank you again, Aiden. Congrats on 100 subscribers. Thank you. Appreciate it, Aiden.